stuff that's in your pocket. Yeah, and you like have dry hands and you stick your hand in it, and it's like scratchy.
Okay. I was like, what are you talking about?
I
Like
hate
when
having,
you stick
like-
your hands in your pockets, do they stick?
No, just there's like feel the light in their lining of my pocket,
Oh.
and like dry hands, you just kind of like scratch your way in and scratch your way out.
Sarah's being so descriptive this evening. I mean, like, it might make me nauseous, but, you know, it's not my fault. I have a weak stomach, you know.
me.
She's talking about snot rockets and bloody noses and
It was a clot
possible
that
pink
big.
eye, and
That big that came out of my nose.
maybe she had the poo-poo under the fingernail. We don't know.
I did clip them because they were getting long.
Oh, but no, it might be strep. Oh, or COVID. So we're all
know.
just fucked here. Thank you.
I just haven't been tested.
She doesn't want to get tested because she's
Well-
going to San Diego.
Well, I'll get tested. I just haven't taken the time to take a home test of COVID.
Those things are so convenient, I must
I
say.
know. And then, but like the thing with strep, it's like you have to have certain symptoms of strep before they test you. Like, because they'll test you at Fresh Market. Did you know that? Yeah.
Smith's Fresh Market.
Albertsons.
Oh.
Fresh Market. You just go
I
up
didn't
to
know
the
those were still around, to be so honest with you.
Fresh Market.
I thought they, like, I don't know. You know how there's different, like, home grocery stores for
It
each
used
state?
to be Albertsons, but now it's Fresh Market.
No, okay,
yeah,
okay. The name totally
It's really
changed.
convenient. You just go up to the desk and be like, I think I have strep throat. And they're like, oh, what are your symptoms? You tell them, and they're like, let's swab you. But I don't have the symptoms. My throat just was on fire. Now I just have a cough and no voice.
That sounds dirty. Let's swab you. Well, that kind of is funny because, you know how everyone, there's this arena where the Jazz plays, our professional basketball team plays, and everybody called it the Delta Center because for years, like almost 20 years ago now, it was the Delta Center. Now it's the Energy Solutions and the fucking now it's a something else center, Staples Center, I think. No. I think that's somewhere else. But the irony of that is they're switching it back to the Delta Center. And
Well, everyone's so used to that. I've never been to a Jazz game.
really? As someone who doesn't even like follow the sport,
But
I've been
I
to
know.
many Jazz games.
It's just like a staple in Utah life. I've just never been to one.
Well, everyone's so crazed about basketball because we don't have a professional team. But on that note, I don't really give a fuck. I thought it was just funny because they changed the name just like everything else. So, you know, yeah. Thanks for coming back, guys. This is Hard Talks with a Blonde and a Hippie. It's your trippy hippie, Alicia. And your favorite blonde, who's no longer blonde.
Blonde at heart.
So how you been, man?
Sick. You can hear it in my voice. Maybe my voice will just stay like this now. I don't know.
Maybe you're just like permanently sick. Maybe you have small sinus passages.
I don't know because it's literally only been this year between November, December, and January.
So all of winter.
But like not the
And
whole
fall.
month. Just like 2 weeks out of the month I'm sick and then I get better and then I'm like, hell yeah. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, again.
How has sleep training been?
We're getting there.
Is she sick again?
No, she's fine.
Well, that's good.
Chase is fine. It's just me. I'm over it.
Taking them vitamins, girl?
No, I should though. What vitamins? Oh, like I got this is like an antioxidant. Has vitamin C, B5, B6, B12.
Email us at hardtalkswithbnh@gmail.com to tell us if vitamin water is a good source of
Probably not.
antioxidants. I'm the worst.
But it has blueberries, so blueberries have good antioxidants in them.
I love regular blueberries and yogurt.
Look, 200% vitamin C.
I've been trying to be more conscientious about what I eat.
A lot of sugars.
But then I had a me day today. I played hooky and got myself a pedicure.
You were sick?
No, it's my oldest son's birthday, and so
Yes, it
I
is.
take this day off normally. And the past few years, my friend who passed away, we'd always meet up for a beer and kind of celebrate it, and he'd let me talk about it. So this year I think is especially hard, but it's the 10th birthday, And so I had this day off.
Just wait until his 18th birthday.
No, like it's
that's gonna be a crazy ass birthday.
It's been like a big trigger today. Like I knew it was gonna be hard because it's kind of felt like an impending day, especially this 10th birthday. I mean, I remember my 10th birthday. Like that was like the birthday that I actually started to really realize things and see things for what they were outside of a childlike lens, you know? And I even remember being sad on my birthday. I think I mentioned this because I was like, Mom, we're all gonna die someday. And she's like, yeah, dude, like birthdays really aren't that cool the older you get. I mean, they can be, it's a state of mind. But my point is I was like, I'm just gonna shrug it off. It'll be fine. You're not gonna have like any problems. And even this morning I woke up, I'm like, okay, I'm going to send a small birthday text. It's not going to be long. And next thing I know, I'm sobbing on my kitchen floor.
And it's like 10 pages long.
Like I maxed out a text message and I was like, okay,
I don't think that's ever happened before.
We need to cut out some stuff. You know what I mean? But
I mean, keep it, but write it in a letter.
It's just kind of crazy. Like
do you do that? You instead of like just like do like a cute little happy birthday text, but like what you really want to say, put it in a letter and address it to him on his 10th birthday, and then when he turns 18, give them to him.
That's a really good idea.
So then that way you're like, this is like, because like you want to say it obviously because you wrote it out, but like you can't do that. So write it out on a piece of paper and then give it to him when he's older, and then he can look back on them and read them. Because you wrote him one in the hospital.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that today. I was like, I don't even remember that. You know, I had like a 40-minute conversation with my mom, and it was a good thing I took off work because
it's a hard day.
Well, and I used to like kind of do the same thing on mine and my ex's wedding anniversary or what would have been. But I'm happy to say that came and passed this year, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
You're like, what was yesterday? Oh, shit.
Yeah, and so I think just like a lot of us, very rarely do we actually take a moment and pause and reflect all that we've overcome or all that we've been through in the last year, 5 years, decade. You know what I mean? And I'm always like, oh, I need to be gentle to myself. But for this entire last year, I've talked about this. I just feel like I'm on like stuck in survival mode where it's just like kind of tunnel vision. And I'm like, yeah, I've had some good, bright, shiny moments, but how present was I for them? How well am I going to remember them? And
you keep a journal?
I do, but I just have been really shitty about meditation and journaling, and sometimes journaling isn't enough like to get it out. Like I almost need to voice it to someone else, not needing a response, but just having it heard and vindicated, since I've never really given that to myself.
Well, if you ever do that, just come down here and record a little sesh.
I need to, but then, you know, who would keep me from tangenting? Who would keep me on track?
Girl, you would like, and then you don't even have to publish it, just hold it in the void. Just let it be in the void.
It's true. So, I don't know. I think with that, the dialogue as far as adoption goes, because I know we have a lot of listeners who have either been adopted or know someone who had placed for adoption. You know, I think very rarely it's talked about how adoption changes. Because I think when you think of it, you just think of the actual transaction, leaving the hospital.
What type of adoption do you have?
Yeah, exchanging the child or whatever. Mine is an in-family open adoption. And so I think I'm experiencing things that I never anticipated. Because even for me, I was that way. Like, even with all the research and all the therapy as I was going through it, I was so checked out that there are a lot of repressed memories that have been coming up lately where they like pop up and I'm like, that was really fucked up. The whole like, it was just all really fucked up, and I don't feel like I was secure enough to like ever really speak my mind. It was just kind of like, do what you're told, don't ask questions.
But too,
like, that sounds bad, but that's how I very much felt inside. And
I feel like your family kind of did that too with how your age. They kind of like gaslighted you a little bit, and they're like, no, you're fine. Like, this is right.
Yeah. And so, like, I think the big thing that I need to process is like, a lot of shit happened that you don't remember. And it's time to like mill through those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially where, I still technically am a part of Grady's life. But it's kind of like I have to watch him being raised from the window on the porch, you know, always outside looking in. And that's really difficult. You know, I've thought about this, had I made a different, wow, my brain's not working.
Decision?
Yeah.
I know. I thought that's where you were going, but I didn't want to.
Like, if I had a closed adoption, I often have wondered, like, if that would have been easier, because it would kind of been like a clean break. But then I also, like, don't think I could have lived with not knowing anything about him or his life.
You could have done like a semi, and then like where you didn't meet him, but like she's still sending you pictures and letters of him.
Well, and I feel like my open adoption very much went to a semi-open adoption, or even like semi-closed, because I see him once a year.
Since your uncle died?
And once a year, like, if I'm lucky. If she's coming up for a time span in the summer, like, I usually try to spend as much time as I can with him. But it's hard, because her and I have yet to found maybe it's mostly on my part, but confidence to sit down and have a deep conversation. For me, I feel a lot of resentment, and that's totally unfair, because she didn't do anything to me. You know what I mean? She's been raising this child, and I think it's all like nature. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's only natural for that relationship to be a little difficult.
But I think it's even harder too, because like you went like 7 months of your pregnancy. You were like, he's mine. Like, I'm going to keep him.
Yeah. In the beginning.
So you had like no process whatsoever to get in that mindset, or even like really research it, or like really talk about it to get in that mindset of like, okay, it'll be okay. It was like a decision made for you. You're doing it. You'll be fine. Get it over with type thing.
I just feel some guilt, some unresolved guilt about, like, I still feel so very responsible for him. And so a lot of the things that have happened in his life, I'm like, well, man, dude, like, if I would have made a different decision, he wouldn't have had to gone through this. Granted, had I kept him, it would have been a rough life. I'm not ignorant to that. But, you know, I was talking to my mom about this, and she's just like, I don't understand why you feel responsible for his behavior or anything that's happened in his life. I'm like, because at the end of the day, I still made him from scratch.
But like, the thing is too, is like, you basically put him in that position.
Exactly.
So I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, if you did keep him, your life would be so different. You might not have Elliot.
Well, and I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have. I mean, I was like so nose to the ground, like focused. Like, as soon as I found out, it really did pull me out of a very dark place and from a very dark crowd. But I like hyper focused on this baby that I very much forgot about myself. Like, you're very lost and insecure as a young kid anyway. Like, I had no fucking clue who I was at 17. And I
still don't know who I am. We're 26.
and it's hard, but I look back on that person and like school is so hard and so weird because when you're a kid, you're just really trying to find your place and where you fit in. And the lengths of things that I was willing to do to fit in with certain people or be liked by certain people was ridiculous. Like I look back and I'm like, I would never do those things today. They were embarrassing or, just
my whole
illegal or just bad, like just naughty, and
I'm like, anyone who knows me in high school, like, I am sorry.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for myself. I'm a different person now.
I was so weird. I was so weird. I very much wanted to be that misunderstood, kind of mysterious kid who wrote, I wanted to be unique. I wanted to stand out, but I didn't quite know how to do that. Like I was scared to be myself. And a lot of the things I did or whatever. Yeah, I was obnoxious. I was obnoxious. But those are the kinds of memories you look back on and you're like, I only remember a snippet of this
hated high school.
The power of the brain is incredible.
I try not to remember any parts of high school because I absolutely hated high school.
There are like complete years I don't remember of my life.
That's like half of my life.
Yeah, and that's kind of what led to my mental breakdown this morning. I'm like, holy fuck, when I think of this child, I still picture this tiny, beautiful infant that I gave away.
You didn't give him away.
And when I see him now, this is so...
He's like an adult.
I know there are other people who can relate to this, but it's so strange for me to say out loud. Now when I see him and try to connect with him, he feels foreign to me. Like I don't know him at all. And I really try, but it just feels really hard. And I think over this last year especially, because I have a lot of shame for this, I feel like I have distanced myself. I think I could have a much more open adoption if I put in more effort.
But
if I was the one to call.
Is it just you or is it like her too?
No, but there have been times where he'll call me off of their Alexa or whatever. And I know it's him and I won't answer on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm either not emotionally prepared for a lengthy conversation, but also I don't know what my boundaries are. And this is where the conversation with his adoptive mom needs to come in and soon. Because
especially where he's getting older and he's
asking so many questions.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that
hard questions too.
Oh yeah, and I mentioned that the last time we talked about my adoption because he was straight up like, "Hey, like why'd you give me away?" And, sometimes I think, what would my life be like if you were my mom? Or, hey, my mom gave me this letter that you wrote me. And I'm just like, my God, I don't even remember what it said. Like, God forbid, like this 9-year-old, like what must he
That's
be
like
thinking?
A hard letter for him to read. And you're like, what did I write in that? I didn't read it. I don't know.
I wrote it right before I was discharged from the hospital. And so I
can
emotions. Only imagine. I mean, like I was doped up on Percocets and Loratabs because they gave me an option. Because
can I take it all?
My labor was so fucked up. But I just am like thinking, what a big moment. Like, did his mom read it? I hope she did. She had to have before she gave it to him.
I don't know.
I would hope so.
I would think so, but then again, maybe she thinks that's like an invasion of privacy too.
Maybe. And I can't thank her enough for actually like sticking to her word, because that was the thing I was most adamant about. He's going to know where he came from. It's never going to be a secret. I'm not a family member. I'm his birth mother.
That's how Addie is too. Like, she knows.
Because, I mean, life is rough and he's already got He's already had a fucked up hand on anyways with the life that was
be hard
given to
go
him.
until you're 18 and all of a sudden like, oh, by the way, you're adopted. And they'd be like, what? Yeah. Like Addie, she knows, like, she's like 7 and she's like, yeah, when I'm 18, I want to meet my brother and sister. Like I want to meet them. Like I can't wait to meet them. Kylie's never hid her adoption from her.
Yeah.
I
just think it's so unfair to do that.
I feel bad for the kids that don't know until a certain age. And it is because it's a lot harder for them to like go their whole life and they're like, my life was a lie.
Well, yeah. You think about what a fucking earth-shattering gut check moment. Like, how do you recover from news like that? Because when you hide something
that big,
it's inevitable that you're just going to drive a wedge between you and your adopted child or whatever.
Being family, like he knows you, like, and if he didn't know you as his birth mom, he'd know you as Annalisa, and then all of a sudden be like,
yeah, no, that was
shit,
fucked up.
You're my birth mom.
Was fucked up. When I was like hard set on like keeping him, there was a moment where my mom was just freshly married to my stepdad, maybe just a few years. And she was like, what if we adopted him?
Oh.
And I was like, so I'd be like the mom, but you'd be legally responsible. And she'd be like, no, he'd be our baby. I'm like, no, I will not become a Hallmark fucking movie or a horror movie where I lose my mind and kill the whole family one day.
I could see it if your mom would have said like, we'll be legally responsible for him, but you can still be the parent.
See, that's what I thought,
and I'm
too.
like, okay, I could get behind that, but with her being like, no, you're like, that would be no. Like people that grow up like that, I feel so bad because it's like they have to treat their child as I couldn't do it.
But I mean, like, think about the
I feel like that's
damage
harder
as a fucking biological parent to go in. I mean, like, obviously everyone's scenario is different. I mean, if you are the one that wants it to be kept secret, that's a different story. And typically you have a closed adoption. But if there is some like disagreement upon that moving forward, that will be an extremely strenuous relationship.
It would just be hard because like you're sitting there watching your child in the same household, but like you can't parent them and like have your, I don't know, that would be hard.
I can't tell you how many like CSI episodes or fucking Law and Order. It turns out that the 15-year-old sister is actually like the 2-year-old's mother. Like it's a Casey Anthony fucked up story.
So I actually read a book about that, and it was his babysitter that like sexually molested him, and he was like young at the time, and like I think he was like 8 or 9, and he had a kid, so the parents took her on as their baby. But like he did most of like everything, but they're like but she doesn't know he's her dad. I'm like,
yeah, that's just like asking to be on like
up.
The Monty talk show or whatever. Oh, it's not Monty. What was it? It was Jerry Springer, and it was I think it was Montel Williams. Yeah. Who's the baby daddy? No, and so obviously, again, like if there's any abuse or like drugs involved, and keeping it anonymous is healthier for said child or everyone involved. That again is a different story, but it's just bombshell.
Like every adoption's different. You can choose how your adoption goes. Like it's completely up to you.
My stepdad's adoption story, how fucked up that is. That the parents, so legally in Utah, you can change a baby's birth date 6 months from before or after their actual birth date.
That's so weird.
You can change their name. You can change the location of where they were born. And
that's like some deep, like, we don't want you to know ever.
That's some deep territorial, like, rooted shit, you know?
That's some, like, cult shit going
also,
on.
When you have an adoption in the state of Utah, there are 2 birth certificates. So he had a completely different name when he was born, and his first birth certificate was under my last name. And then after 6 months, when the adoption process is complete, they will issue a secondary birth certificate and then they can legally change their name. And so, yeah, it's just a trip because with my stepdad, they told him that his birth parents died. And then, no shit, my sister had a class with him up at Logan. What the fuck is that college? Why can't I think of that?
Utah State?
Yep. And she finally worked up the courage to go and be like, hey, like, are you so-and-so born on this date or whatever? And he was like, no. Why do you ask? And she's like, oh, I'm really sorry. This is like way off.
It's like awkward
color,
at this point now.
But, you know, I have a brother who was given up for adoption. I thought you might be him. And he's like, no, my birth parents died.
Oh, my God.
So when that boy finds out, if he ever finds out, it'll be
But you gotta think about it too, like he's gonna be like
disruptive to say the least.
And he's like gonna completely cut his parents off. But maybe they have a reason why, maybe like the birth parents wanted it that way.
No, it was my stepdad and his ex-wife, and they did not. They even had like a baby book made, and some adoptions are set up to where the adoption will start off a certain way, like semi-open or open, and then the older they get, the more time goes between like visitation or pictures or letters.
Yeah, like with Addie, Lauren just wanted them up to her first year.
Yeah, I was
She just wanted pictures and like letters first year, then she want like completely cut off.
And my aunt was so good about pictures. I have hundreds of them in my closet, but yeah, just again, like peeling back this new layer and trying to like really process and conquer that shameful emotion of kind of wanting to put space between me and him. Mm-hmm. I've like had to sit with it and be like, why? And I've just ultimately come to the conclusion that I'm just not ready to have these talks with him.
Oh, okay.
Because like when I imagined it, I honestly imagined it over a beer. You know,
like when he's older.
When he was older,
and
as an adult.
When he could really understand and see what position you were put in.
Right.
Because when he's 10, he'd be like, well, you gave me a weight. And you're like, I really didn't. Like, there was a lot of factors that like I like really, really had to like. Many tears were shed over this decision. Like, it wasn't an abrupt, like, hey, I don't want this kid anymore. Right. You know? Like, no, it was never like that. And I don't think a 10-year-old will really be able to comprehend that because then it's just going to drive, like, a huge wedge in between you.
I feel like he's just very curious. He needs all the answers, but I, again, don't know, like, how much to disclose.
Yeah.
And I also... Like, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for me to hear when he's like, oh, you know, sometimes I imagine what my life would have been like if you would have kept me. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I am not suited for this yet. I thought I had more time.
Right.
And as far as changes in adoption, especially with a situation like mine, now I have another son who's just so curious. Why doesn't my brother live with me? Why did you give him away? Oh my God, you're giving up on the dog like you gave up on my brother.
Oh,
you know, this is all starting at 5, and both of my boys are very...
Well, we knew Elliot.
They are just like straight empaths, right? Just so intuitive, so insightful. They know what other people are feeling because they can feel it themselves. Mm-hmm. And so trying to break it down for a 5-year-old who's going to ask me the same question in 30 seconds mm-hmm. has really been hard. And so moving forward after today, you know, like I said, I got a pedicure. It was pretty funny because she didn't want to touch my fucked up foot, but she did.
She's like,
she did. I was like, just don't massage it. Just lightly put the lotion on. And then when I had to put my foot down, it was like, I had to stretch up a little bit. Anyways. And then I went to the mall for the first time in a long time.
I seen your bag upstairs.
And I got myself some really cute pants that fit. And they're a little bit of bell bottoms. They make my ass look great.
I have the flattest butt.
girl, the more weight I put on, my booty gets, it's great.
I
but
had a really nice butt until I started nursing. Pancake now.
Pancake. It's because all the calories are being sucked out of the tatas.
Go on.
Bought myself a shirt too, and then I went back and bought
Returned
myself.
it all?
No, I went and had lunch by myself.
Hey.
And had salmon at Chili's. Yeah.
The hell? Salmon?
It sounded great. I wanted something
good?
healthy. Yes, yeah. I
don't
love salmon.
like fish.
Oh, I love fish.
No, I correct myself. I like certain fish tacos from Roosters or Hawaii fish.
Hawaii fish, like all fish from that general population.
Like when you go to Hawaii and you're like, I want the fresh catch of the day and a taco, and they're like, okay.
So it could be any fish from
Hawaii.
around Hawaii.
Yes. In Hawaii.
Watch, you're
though.
eating like fucking swordfish.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. It was good. It was a catch of the day. It was delicious.
This is trout, river trout.
I don't think they have river trout there.
It's
but,
from the forest to the jungle.
We're not sure what this fish is. We just caught it. Anyway, so you went and had lunch by yourself.
And because I amidst my breakdown this morning, I was like, God damn, like I don't want to talk about all this, but I have to. I have to talk about it because I know there's other people who have gone through and had the courage to place their children for adoption and
at
have
any,
no
at
outlet.
any age too.
Yeah, and have no outlet and have most likely the same feelings on how to navigate this new phase of adoption because again, people think it's open and shut. Once the baby's gone, it's like done. And honestly, I was one of those people. And now that I'm
you have to realize
getting older and that big looming number of 10, a decade, I don't even necessarily think it was just about him. I think it was like, my God, so much time has passed. And I feel like I've grown so much. But then like back to what I was talking about who we were in high school, as soon as like days like today come, I'm like, oh my God, no. Like I feel that younger version of myself inside still crying about the things that she was dealing with because it wasn't like some stupid high school shit. This was heavy life altering major shit that a lot of people I know wouldn't be able to get through alone. And I did. I did do most of it alone, and I came out on the other side. And I thought that I was so broken. And today, like, I just visualized her. And I was just like, you need a fucking hug, bro. Like, you aren't so broken that you aren't fixable. You look how far you've come. You did get through this. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I've been trying to get through. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be sad about this anymore today. Lots of big feelings this morning. Let's table it. And let's go treat myself.
That's a big birthday.
It is a big birthday.
10. You've been here for 10 years.
Yeah, and it just feels like it just happened. Mm-hmm. So like and time is just so fucked up in that sense, right? I feel like it's been so long. And in my mind again, like I have so much time to figure out exactly what I need to say to make it make sense and how I want to say it. But my time is up. Mm-hmm. And it has been 10 years, and I'm just like, wow, we've been out of high school for 10 years, bro.
I know. And now he's really he's like, okay, I want answers.
This little genius level of comprehension, and it's incredible. So I don't know. To all our birth mamas out there, you guys are superheroes because, it's. Even with my partner, I was like, I'm really not going to answer many calls today. I kind of want to be left alone.
And that's totally fine.
But he was like, why? And I was like, today's my oldest son's birthday. And he's like, well, you don't really ever talk about that. And when I got off the phone, I was like, really? Because I feel like I think about it all the time. And I don't know.
I feel like if you don't really know you don't talk about it. And so people don't really know unless they're close to you that you've been through that.
I just, like with Elliot, wish I could remember the good parts because I just remember the bad from what I do remember. And it kind of scares me and doesn't make me want to push further as far as healing that chapter of my life because I'm scared of what else I might uncover because I've suppressed it for so long. It's really just so fascinating to me how we can forget.
It's your ways, like it's your brain's way of like protecting you.
Coping.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to call him after this. And I'm going to have a great conversation with him.
Write down some points so you don't get jumbled. How you do.
Yeah, he'd like that today.
Yeah, so that way, like, when he does ask certain questions, you're not blindsided and you're like, you have kind of like a little bit of like a little chunk of an answer you can give him while you get your thoughts together. Because you know he's going to be asking questions.
For sure. And I don't know, it was encouraging for me to like actually visualize my younger self because I think I have a better understanding for when people are like, do that shadow work, take care of that younger self. I mean, think about all the times when we were young, when we were left in our rooms to cry about something or deal with something hard on our own that we didn't fully understand.
Well, that's what I don't like.
Someone's with us.
Honestly, that's why I don't like leaving Caroline to cry in her room. I hate it. I hate it when she cries. And I'm like, I just don't want her to feel like abandoned. So that's why I'm
because you have issues with abandonment too, and so it's interesting in that you bring that up because how we were parented or what our childhood looked like that very much reflects into our own parenting, and it's hard work working through all that.
Because even Chase will ask me, he's like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. We're both in this, like, I know as much as you do at this point, dude.
If we, like, couldn't tell a lie, if every time that we felt an insecurity and we had to speak on it, imagine us.
People
imagine
would be
the world.
Freaked out.
I know. But I mean, like, think of, like, how open and healthy a relationship would be, too. Because maybe if we talked about it a little more, we could pinpoint where it comes from.
Yeah.
Whereas like, oh, like I'm feeling insecure and a little bit jealous of you going out to this festival without me. Not because I don't trust you, but because because
you want to go. Like you want to be able to enjoy it.
Well, that, but also, you know, it's just like, it's my past relationships too. And I don't know. Therapy is hard. Mental health and healing is hard, and it's exhausting. No. But
I think why it's exhausting is because you're just like, you're purging it and you need it to be purged because it's like just like a big old rock on you. And once you purge it off, you just like get it all out. And so you are like, you're mentally drained, but then like after you're just like, God, I feel good.
That's what my mom kind of said too. She was like, everything that you have been ignoring and pushing down for the past 10 years, you need to go through it because that is probably what's making you feel like you're being held back right now. Yeah. And why you're not able to reach your full potential and why you have depression.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
It's hard as hell.
Yeah. She's like, bro. She didn't say bro to me, but she's like,
I
Alicia,
can see her saying bruh.
Alicia,
get your shit
together. And it wasn't just that, you know, it was our family and everything that happened with that and their divorce. And then again, just wanting to be that brooding, angsty, angry, self-sabotaging, self-harming young girl who just wanted to be loved by anybody and who would have loved anybody because I just needed that for some reason. And the person I was with just toxic. I wonder about him. sometimes. I wondered about him today because he signed his rights away when I was still pregnant. And just recently, we have a listener of the show who reached out to me, I don't know, a year ago, probably. And it's my son's biological dad. It's her ex too. And so that was a trip. And
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like I didn't want to like super connect on that because like that's very much a part of my past. He's not a part of me or my life now. Thank God. But I still wonder about him because even though he was so horrible to me throughout that entire relationship and my entire pregnancy and after, he decided to get his name and his birthday tattooed over his heart. And so every year on his birthday, I think of that. I'm like, I can't be.
After he signed his rights away?
Yes, after he was born.
What? Yes. I feel like that happens a lot, though. They're like, we don't want the baby. And then as soon as, like, as soon as that little red blob pops out, they're like, oh my God.
It's such a stupid ego
like
flex.
Our
like
friends.
Oh, I'm not really that big of a dick. She's crazy. See, I got his name tattooed on my chest. See, weird. No. And so, but I'm like, I can't be the only one that thinks about that. You know, I don't know.
I mean, he has to see it every day. Did he get it covered up? Does he still have it? Do people ask about it?
No idea. But
these are shit that we need to know. Like, there's so many questions because, like, you know, like, people are gonna be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" He's like, "Oh, it was," and then you're like,
"If you know beep and beep, you know."
Yeah, but it was never your son because you signed your rights away when she was pregnant, so you don't even have the right to get his name or birthday tattooed.
It was quite infuriating.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he didn't sign his rights away, I'd be like, okay, no, you signed your motherfucking rights away. That is not your kid,
right?
You don't get the right. No. Oh, that's disgusting.
I like how fired up that made you.
Well, that's stupid.
That's how I felt for the last 10 years.
Well, you signed your rights away. You don't get no fucking part of that.
Yeah. But then, like, I was so codependent that even after I had given Grady up, I was constantly seeking male attention, and I was very promiscuous during that chapter of my life, and I got arrested and got into a lot of trouble and literally had an ex-boyfriend who's dead now, still blows my mind, report his truck stolen, like just a whole slew of legal issues. And then I met my ex-husband, and if I could go back and just tell myself not to get too attached, like just to like keep it cool.
Just get Elliot out of the bar
like,
and then like kick your ass out.
No, but I still would have had to be with him for 5 years to get Elliot.
Oh,
I don't know.
God.
I know. So, but just everything compacted into such a small time period in my life. It was just one wave after another. Today was the first time where I was like, bro, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
When are you gonna like take the time to give yourself the credit for like, still being here?
I mean, it's true that we always talk about how like Alicia's life is a shit show, but really, like literally, we joke about it, but you have been through the ringer and like you have come out on top every single time.
Still here talking non-toxic PMA bitches.
Like honestly though, like it's just like it amazes me how you just deal with your shit, because ours is just like I just think I'm having a bad day. I'm like, you know what, Alicia's life is worse. I can't get any worse.
No, I just have really shitty luck, man, based off of my really shitty decision making skills. And going back to that really quick, I'm like, I wouldn't make the same decisions that I did when I was younger. And then I look at the past few months of my life and I'm like, you're still the same.
You have like a little cycle going on.
Your programming needs an update.
You need to like get in your brain and get some shit rewired.
Yeah, and as I'm crying behind my computer screen, which was so glad I took today off and actually spent time with myself.
You need to do that. You need to purge it out. I always talk about that. Purge it out.
I was thinking about what I must look like to other people. Kind of how you're like, oh, Alicia's life is a shit show. But I usually keep a smile on my face, or, like we've said, that shit's not okay when I'm nowhere to be found.
But
because I burrow.
Like, I always know that no matter what you're going through, you're always messaging people. You're always like, hey, I love you. And I'm like, okay.
It's because I need to reach out to other people, and I need to have that connection. Some people can go through their shit in silence, and I have mad respect for that. That is like a superpower. But I very much need validation. Yeah. And a lot of the time, like, I'm too exhausted to even like bring up what's really like on my shoulders, but like just having kind of a conversation with someone that I love to distract me or kind of pull me out of it, that helps. But also, I don't want people to ever feel what I feel like. So when I know people are struggling, I really kind of overextend myself sometimes because I very much want to be that person that I need. And that's just been like a shitty realization I've had to have over, especially this last year after Jason died, is I am my own love of my life, and no one's going to take care of me better than I will. And I need to stop fucking waiting for someone to step in and give me everything I need. I need to just fucking do it myself. So, yeah, I just had a serious look at my life and my habits. And I read a meme, and it was kind of like, once you see your level of dysfunction, the veil is lifted and you can't go back. And I was like, I had that moment this morning during my breakdown. I'm like, I am so dysfunctional. It's fucking wild. And most people would never know. Because again, like back to like anxiety and panic attacks, I've had so many, or especially on substance, where on the inside I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing my fucking mind. The world's going to end. I'm going to puke or pass out. Not sure which one. And maybe to everyone else on the outside, I'm like,
chilling.
Smile on the face. Got to bop to the beat, and
bopping to the beat.
It's kind of amazing having those moments where you surprise yourself. But then it's scary when you surprise yourself over negative actions and you're like, oh my God, I am still 16 years old, still insecure, still scared, still floundering to try and figure it all out. I don't know if that ever goes away. I think we're just constantly making things up as we go.
There's no handbook.
No. And when Elliot asked just yesterday, he's like, Mom, what's the age where you're an actual adult? I'm like, there is no such age. Really?
The government says you're an adult at 18.
Yeah, but
mentally,
age is such a state of mind. Like, I sent you that article about that 122-year-old woman.
God.
She was like 70 in 1970 something.
She was like 14 years old when the Eiffel Tower was built.
She smoked cigarettes from the age of 22
Van Gogh?
Yeah, she met Van Gogh.
Like, what in the hell?
And it's not like she was living this crazy, healthy life. She was just living her life to the fullest, and she had such a positive outlook on herself, on her body, on her life, and the world around her, that I absolutely believe that's why she lived as long as she did.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever. And I don't know. I think when we're 70, we're both kind of probably look at each other and be like,
I'm ready. I'm done.
Am that like ridiculous, obnoxious 16-year-old girl.
You'll be going to raves. I'll be like, Alicia, you are too old for this. Your boobs are hanging.
I will slap you in the face with these titties. I'm close to doing that now.
I mean, just like that, you would be like in your 70s. You wouldn't even care. You probably would go naked.
No, and I feel like the older you get, like, I don't understand, like, the comparison thing. That is one thing that has gotten better for me, because I just am so damn exhausted from all the other shit that's in my life. I have no time to compare with anybody else, and that has been a godsend. But I feel like the older, at least for me, the older I get, I just don't have as many fucks to give about whether people like me or what we talk about on the show. That's a whole nother story, but we got anyways. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna.
That's how Chase is. He's like, babe, we're at this age. I'm like, and your point being, like, what? Like I don't get like where he comes from. He's like, we don't have a house. I'm like, well, yeah, the economy is shit.
I know.
Or like, I'm like, who cares? But then like, you read people that like Oprah got fired at 24, but like she wasn't Oprah. She was just the Oprah that got fired at 24. And
Oprah was like homeless.
Yeah,
as
I'm
a
like,
kid, or like seriously abused. I may have that wrong. Fact checking, but she
like,
did not have a good childhood.
Vera Wang made her first dress in her 40s. I'm like, what? I'm like, what age do we have to be to have this stuff? I'm like, who cares?
No, it's all about like what you fucking learn along the way, and that is my goal from this day forward. After today's mental breakdown, is I am going to be fucking present.
Yeah.
I am going to be better. I'm tired of beating myself up at the end of the day because I know I could have done better, or I shouldn't have taken that nap, or I didn't have the motivation.
Always take the nap, dude. Always.
I just
always take the nap.
Really am going to be gentle and patient with myself with this next chapter moving forward. And I think that's my suggestion to anyone else who's going through something similar to all of this, because like Sarah said, there is no handbook. There is no cap for a glow up or for growth. You know what I mean?
No. Like, why does it matter? We don't have a career yet. Get one when you're 80.
Yeah. I'll have one when I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm ending it right now.
Mommy, I'm thirsty.
Thanks. Love you. Yeah. So I also think I'm going to seek out an adoption counselor.
Probably should have done that 10 years ago, but hey, it is never too late to start.
Exactly. That is going to be the point we're driving home right now. It's never too late to start, and it's
no matter your age, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You wanna do something, do it. Who cares? Who cares?
And it's never too late either to realize that you have some fucking issues that you need to work through. Because for so long I thought I was okay. But again, this morning I was like, I am dysfunctional as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't. I can't say that on there. Anyways. I'm going to work on it.
Okay. I need some water.
Yep.
I haven't.
Anyways, you guys, thank you for sharing this space with me. And if you're, struggling and need a friend and a reminder that you're worthy and things are going to get better, you can email us at hardtalkswithbnh@gmail.com. We are not psychiatrists, but we're always here to help where we can.
We can help find you one. We aren't ones, but we can help find you.
It's true. And if you want to give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook, you can do so at Hard Talks with BNH. We're on Twitter at Hard Talks with B1.
Uno. Oh my gosh.
But until next time, you guys, stay chipper. And, don't let the bastards or the bullshit get you
January,
down.
Wait. When will this... Okay. Today. Will it be here today? Look at this, you guys. We're almost out of January. This was the longest, coldest fucking month ever. If you live in northern Utah, you understand. It's supposed to be like 7 degrees on Tuesday.
On the positive side, it's still daylight after 5 p.m. now.
I know, finally.
So that's been a silver lining.
The longest month of the year is over, people.
Is it really the longest month of the year?
No, it just feels like it's January.
It's like, yeah. Anyway.
There's only 28 days in February, so.
The highest rate of suicides is in January.
Yeah, because I got uber depressed.
Uber depressing. Yeah, I have some stories, some mystical stories for you next time. But anyways, you guys, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That does wonders for us. It makes our week. Let us know if you can relate or if you know anyone else who can relate. And on that note, you have a kick-ass motherfucking day.
I'm gonna die.
Bye.
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 How my voice sounds.